Hi, and welcome to Making Sense with Making Science. I'm Noelle Bruno, Marketing Manager for the Northern Region at Making Science, and today we'll be making sense of GA4. Today I have with me Alice Crawley, Senior Sales Engineer at Google UK, and Rodney Perry, Head of Data and Analytics from the UK. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Thanks.
So today, as I said, we're going to make sense of GA4. So just a bit of background to what GA4 is. I think everyone's heard about the new upgrade to GA4 from Universal Analytics to GA4. So I think we can almost dive straight in because it's been such a hot topic. People are going crazy about the cookie deprecation, the data, privacy. You know, there's a lot of people who have a lot of questions about GA4 specifically. So my first question, Alice, is why is GA4 the definite measurement tool?
Yeah, great question. So we have a new event-based data model where all of your web and app data can come into Google Analytics 4 together. And this gives far more flexibility in how you can implement the tool and also the granularity of the data that you get out of it. It's a great tool for understanding how your marketing is performing with integrations with Google Ads and with the Google Marketing Platform. So Search Ads 360, Display and Video 360, Campaign Manager 360, to give you more insight into how all of your campaigns are performing from each of those tools. So data-driven attribution, and also we've just launched some new dimensions that come in from each of those tools to be able to dig deeper into the data within Google Analytics. And of course, I wouldn't work for Google without mentioning AI. So there's plenty of features that use AI in the tool as well. So things like anomaly detection, modeling for cases where we don't have a complete data set, and also predictive audiences to really be able to activate on the data that's seen in the tool.
Okay, so obviously you mentioned, you know, from a Google's point of view, why this is the tool to have for measurement. But Rodney, coming from an agency side, what are the main benefits we see for clients, and what's your experience using GA4 compared to other platforms?
Well, thanks for asking. So with GA4, the consistent data model now across app and web is really, really helpful. We are able to make things simpler. It's easy to understand for users. And now there's more machine learning being incorporated into the tool, and it's a lot more modernized. Like data-driven attribution as default in your reporting is great. Having the predictive audiences allowing you to experiment with machine learning within your paid media campaigns is a really cool feature, and able to dip your toe in the water before making that big budget decision on where to focus your time and energy into getting the most returns out of your marketing spend.
And we have mentioned a lot about machine learning and AI already. And I think the biggest red flag you could say about machine learning that people have said is it privacy safe? And that sort of complies to GA4 as well. Is GA4 a privacy safe tool?
Yeah, we do get this question a lot. So when we rebuilt Google Analytics 4, we really thought about privacy right from the very beginning, and that was built into the very foundations. That being said, things have been moving very quickly, so we have had to build things into the tool as well. But the idea is there's lots of different settings and different tools in the tool to make sure that you and your legal teams and your DPO teams are happy with the data that you're collecting in Google Analytics and how it's used. So things like Google Signals can be toggled on and off by different country regions. We no longer store IP addresses. So these are just some examples of some of the things that are making customers more comfortable with the data in Google Analytics 4.
So we've talked about how you use it as a measurement tool. We've spoken about the privacy, we've spoken a little bit about budgets already. But I think what people want to know as well is, like, how do you use it? So Rodney, do you have any specific cases that we found in the client related to privacy and how they've used this privacy with GA4?
Yeah, so what's really helpful with GA4 is it's a lot more granular than Universal Analytics was, and it gives you a load of control to make sure that your privacy settings match what the DPO and the legal team have set your requirements. You can adjust how long you keep data, so it's not kept forever, which is also a saver in cost. because you're not going to be storing that data forever, makes your queries quicker. And then the user deletion API is really useful in being able to automate some of the process to deal with data deletion requests and just managing that whole process, because really it's not something you want to be doing yourself. You want to be able to automate it and let that stuff take care of itself so you can focus on where you're going to make your money, which is through analysis and improvement.
Interesting. Alice, you just mentioned third-party cookies that you're working on, when the phase out is happening with Chrome at the end of the year. What are people expecting is going to happen specifically through GA4? Are they going to see a massive drop-off, or what are you seeing already with the start of the deprecation?
Yeah, so Google Analytics itself is based on a first-party cookie, and Google Analytics 4 has brought in methods where we don't rely on cookies as much as we did before. So things like user ID are far more prominent in the tool than they were before, and so we can use that in the absence of cookies. We also can have modeling, so in the cases of consent, we can model for gaps in data, same for the third-party cookies. And then where they power things like activation for audiences, we're working on new features and functionality that will power that exact same use case, but just without the third-party cookies.
And Rodney, are you starting to see clients that are worried about third-party cookies? Are they going to see a massive shift in conversions? What are you seeing right now?
Well, so that has been the big question, is how's it going to affect your data in Chrome? Because Chrome is by far the most popular browser in the world. We see your Safari start to impact things in the past, but with Chrome, it's a much bigger problem. And it's going to affect the amount of conversions you get. Fortunately, we have got our own cookie deprecation tool we've developed that will help you measure what that drop-off is going to be, so you can start to set expectations and plan your marketing budget for later in the year in H2 appropriately.
Yeah, I know I've started to see, this is a brand new tool for everyone who's watching that we launched, I would say 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And as Ronnie said, that it's super impressive. I've seen some results come out of it already, and I think we're seeing up to 30% of businesses' conversions have dropped up or been lost due to the deprecation. So basically what you're saying, the tool is measuring.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want to go to your boss in August and say we're 30% lower than last year.
Yeah.
And in reality, you're doing just as well, if not better. So it's to help set expectations and then start making those, enforcing those decisions around the business. That we need to get our first-party data strategy right. Yeah. We need to improve our campaigns. We need to be optimizing our site to get the most out of our existing traffic.
Right. What sort of insights can we expect to see from a platform like GA4? What's the main difference between UA and going on to GA4?
The GA4 interface is much more simplified, so the left-hand navigation of standard reports have been condensed to make it much easier to find what you're looking for. The same data is there. Some people think, oh, there's not as much in there. As Rodney said, there is more in there. It's just the reports are simplified, and then you need to make sure that you're changing the primary dimension in the tool and adding different comparisons and things to really dig into the data. So we've got our standard reports where you can go in and look at things like traffic sources, what content people are viewing, what items they're purchasing. But where the tool really comes alive is in the Explore section, where you can do customized reporting. So here you could look at things like funnel analysis of how many people go from one step to another through the website, where are they dropping off. And we also have pathing reports where you can choose a point and look at what happened before and what happened after it if you don't know. So there's lots of power there.
Okay, that's interesting. Anything you want to add, Rodney?
Yeah, and I'll add that the reports are completely customizable. So in theory, there's the default once you get out the report, but in the past, that was all you got. And that's what you had to work with. Now it can be completely tailored to your business to really match your requirements and make it easy for everyone to use and get exactly what they need out of it quickly.
Okay, yeah, I think quick sounds good to me. Like when I'm set for reports or I want data, or even worse, when I get emails saying I need the data quickly, it should be there for me.
Sounds like automated insights are also something to know out. So this is also a new feature driven by AI where insights are surfaced to you in the tool. So an example might be, it might flag to you that your mobile traffic has increased by 220% this week. and also flag to you why that might be the case. So perhaps you had an increase in traffic from an affiliate of yours or something like that. So it's surfacing these things to you that otherwise might have been lost within the rest of the data.
That sounds great. I'm just saving time already. So I just want to ask, so obviously this sounds brilliant, but what makes up GA4 different from other platforms? I know you've already mentioned the new AI side or automation side, shall I say, but let's talk from a client point of view. Why should they be using GA4 instead of other platforms that are out there?
So GA4 has the unique advantage in that its integrations with your main spending channel, Google Ads, Search Ads, Campaign Manager or DV360, native. And it makes it seamless. It makes the reporting much easier. It makes audience building much easier because you can build your audience in Google Ads with your GA4 data. Now, and if you're using Google Ad Manager, if you're on the sell side, you're also getting ad impression hits coming straight into GA4. So it simplifies that whole ecosystem. There's no need for a complex integration and pipeline by your dev team or paying for a third-party tool to do it. It's all automatic. You click a button and the integration is done with the Google tools.
Yeah, and just to add to that, all of this is being built with the future in mind as well. So while some of those features currently rely on third-party cookies, in the background, we're working on new features and functionality that will allow these features to continue even once third-party cookies have been deprecated.
Cool. And I just want to sort of round off the session by asking more like, what is next? What's the next step? You've got GA4 implemented, your data's rolling in. What do I do now? What do people need to think about when they've got the data? What's the next step?
For me, it's how can they then take action on that data? So you've got all this amazing rich data in one place. You've done your great analysis, whether that's within the interface or within Explore. Then it's how you're going to activate that data. So are you sending audiences through to Google Ads and to the rest of the Google marketing platforms? Are you sending your conversions through to be able to have them including in the bidding algorithms in those tools as well? So make sure that you're learning and activating from that data.
Yeah, I think it's been a big period of change. And it's continuing to change with all the developments in AI, and we're moving really quickly at the moment. It's going back to the basics of making sure that you're collecting data correctly, you're analysing your campaigns and where you spend your money properly, and then looking at where you can optimise your experience. So many new technologies, it's how do you integrate them, finding the right ones for you, using them properly, and improving the user experience.
Thank you very much, Alice and Rodney, for sitting here and making sense of GA4. Do you feel like you've made sense of GA4, Alice?
I hope so.
So I just want to say thank you to everyone that's listening. If you do have any questions, comments, or recommendations of what we want to make sense of next, please reach out to us on LinkedIn or email us at info@makingsigns.com. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.